All right, this is for activity 125 for the conduit bracket. There's just all of these notes prior with the parametric modeling. So we're focusing under Introduction to 3D Features. So we're going to be referencing this multi-view drawing as well as these steps down here, A through I, to create the conduit bracket. So first thing we're going to do, and notice the little note here that there's often many ways to create a model using different features and techniques, but we're just going to follow these instructions here for you to get used to using the extrude and the revolve tools, which we should be pretty familiar with the extrude tool at this point, but the revolve and tools we're going to be using as well down here, such as the chamfer and fillet, are going to be new tools that you have not used previously. So first thing that it tells us to do is sketch a 20 millimeter by 30 millimeter rectangle. So what we're going to do first, if we go into Fusion, open up your IED project, create a new folder for activity 1.2.5, open up that folder, and now I'm just going to close this portion out. So a way you can set your dimensions so that you don't have to constantly type in millimeters, since inches is currently our default measurement, you're going to go to Document Settings, and where it says Units, we're going to change Active Units to be millimeters. We're not going to set it as our default because we want inches to remain as the default for the other projects that we're going to do. So we're going to click OK. And we're going to create our sketch. It does say on the XY plane. Some of the accounts, for some reason, it makes the XY plane the base view when that really should be your Z plane. So when they say XY, they're talking about the front view. So for example, mine has XZ as my front, which Y is really your height, Z is your depth. So I don't know why some of them do it that way, but we want to select the front view. Now, if we go back and look at our instructions here, we sketch a rectangle. And we begin it at the origin, so a 20 by 30. So we're going to do a 2-point rectangle from the origin. And millimeters wise, so it is actually at 30, that's where we want that height to be 30. And this would be 20, and we're going to hit enter. So it does put it as millimeters. Don't know why the 30 is not showing up, so we're just going to add that on the side there. So we have 20 by 30. If you're unsure which one goes where, you can go back and look at the multi-view drawing, which has the 30 as the height here on your front view. So that's how you can tell too where the 20 is and where the 30 is. Doesn't look like this quite yet, but you'll see in a second when we go to use the revolve, which we're doing 360 degrees around that 30 millimeter side. So we're going to hit finish sketch. We're going to use the revolve. So profile, it already has it selected as this being the profile, and the axis, it's around the 30 millimeter edge. So either this side or this side, whichever you would prefer. I'm going to click on this one so it's centered, and we want 360 degrees. If we look from the front view, if you change this to be a different degree, so if we do say 270, notice how it has a gap open. So 360 obviously brings it all the way around, and typing in a different degree would bring your revolve around to that specific degree and not do the entire revolve. So we're going to hit OK. I'm going to go to my home view now. And if we look back at our directions here, we're going to sketch a 10 millimeter square centered on the top of the cylinder. So we'll come back here. So we're creating a sketch on the top of our cylinder in the center. So we're not going to use that 2-point rectangle anymore. We're going to be using the center rectangle. That way we know it is centered. We don't have to worry about adding any constraints. It's going to automatically do it for us. And we were told to do a 10 millimeter square, which would mean both dimensions are 10 millimeters. Then we finish our sketch. And now we're at part F. So we're already almost done. So we extrude the square 15 millimeters to create an additive feature. So we're adding on to our design. Whereas most of the time in the past assignments, we've been doing subtractive. So we want 15 millimeters and you want it to join. So we're going to hit OK. Coming back. We're going to add what's called a fillet. So a 5 millimeter fillet to the edges between the rectangular prism, so the one we just extruded, and the cylinder. So it's going to create this curve here. So that's the radius of 5. That's that 5 millimeter fillet. So that's going to be under modify. It is occasionally up top here, but if you don't see it, just go to modify and it'll be here. You can also type F on your keyboard. Now, this part might be a little tricky, so you might have to move your shape around, but you should be able to, if you just move around in just the right way, select all of the edges. If not, you want that bottom square, you can just move your box around here so that you can get all of the edges and then head back to your front view. Probably the easiest would be clicking all of the corners. That way you can get all of those edges until you get back to the regular isometric. And then we want the fillet to be 5 millimeters, so change your 0 to 5. And all of them, so if we rotate around here again, we can see all of them have that 5 millimeter fillet. And then we click OK. And we're now on to step H. So now we're going to add what's called a chamfer, which almost does the same thing, but the edges are straight versus curved. So this is going to be on the bottom of the cylinder, and it's going to be 5 millimeters by 30 degrees. So I'm going to put this here, click on that bottom corner so that I can see the bottom of my cylinder. And this chamfer is here. Again, you can go to modify if you can't see it up top. So you want to click not on the bottom face, but on the bottom edge. So make sure it just outlines that rim there. And we want to do, instead of equal distance, we want to do a distance and an angle since we were given that angle. So we were given 30 degrees and it's 5 millimeters. All right. So if we look at this view here, we can see the angle and it's at 30 degrees. We're going to click OK. If you look at your home view, it's a little tricky to see. Then what we're going to do is save our design and we are done with the conduit bracket. So save conduit bracket. Make sure it's in 125. And we are now done.